So what's really going on, my Stay True crew? Welcome back to another video. If you're new to my channel, my name is Eddie and you are watching Stay True to the Flavor. Today I have a special guest. I'm not doing no cooking at all today, guys. Got somebody coming in, doing all the cooking for me. Stay tuned. So here she is, guys. Put your hands together. Help me welcome. Hey, all right, Mom. Here she is. I'm put together for the day. I'm gonna go ahead and put on the apron on her and tie it up. And what are we making today, Mom?
We're making mole my way. Actually, I'm doctoring up ready-made mole. It's not sponsored, but it's Doña Maria because that happens to be my favorite and my family's favorite. And I'm just going to walk you through the way that I make it. I'm not a cook, chef, but I like to cook. And my family and my relatives have always liked this mole. So I hope that you like it too. And then you give me a little thumb up. You subscribe, it doesn't cost you anything and it'll help us.
That's right.
So welcome to today's video. I'm gonna make mole and I'm gonna make rice, okay?
And I'm gonna step away and be behind the cameras for today.
And
stay tuned.
Just join us, thank you. When I make mole, I always start out by doing the onion first. And the reason for that is that if I start to put the onion in lemon juice, it could be lime juice, it could be naranja agria if you have it. That would be your bitter orange. That gives it a very good flavor too. They use it a lot in Yucatan Peninsula. I guess they have a lot of it. I have a tree, but it doesn't have any right now. So I'm just gonna use lemon and lime and a little bit of salt. And that's just to macerate the onion. We like it as a garnish on our mole. It gives it a good flavor. So I'm gonna just start with that. So I cut my onion in rings, and then so that they will be more manageable, I'm gonna cut them in half and just put them in a little bowl, break them up, and I'm going to squeeze some juice on there. And that will be that step. I previously cut my lemons and my lime, and I'm going to squeeze the juice onto my onion. And folks, I'm not Martha Stewart, far from it. I admire the woman, but that's as far as it goes. But I mean, it's nice that somebody thinks highly of you. It doesn't count a lot, I guess, because he's my son. But I appreciate it.
It counts a lot.
But I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I like the mole, the way that it comes out. It's a shortcut. And I'll show you the ingredients in a minute after I'm done with this. When I'm done with my onion, I'm gonna just set it aside, and then I'm gonna show you my ingredients that I use for the mole. Of course, we'll start out with 1 jar of mole, right here, and then I'm going to have 1 tablespoon of pepitas, pumpkin seeds, 1 teaspoon of sunflower seeds, 1 teaspoon of sesame seeds. These have been toasted, but you can use untoasted. A couple of pieces of Mexican chocolate in the tablet, 1 tablespoon of peanut butter, and 1 slice of toast. This will give it your thickness also, but I'm also going to use plantain. And the reason for that, it gives it a very good flavor, and it also helps with your thickening. If it's very large, you don't have to use the whole thing. I'm just going to use half. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it open, slice it, and then I'm going to just not fry it, but just bring out the sweetness of it in a little skillet. Since my pepitas are in the raw stage, I'm also going to fry them up a little bit. And I don't mean fry a lot, just a little tiny toasting, just enough to wake them up, wake up the flavors. And I'll do the same way with my sunflower seeds. My sesame has been toasted, so I don't need to do anything with that. Everybody has their own way of making mole. This is my way. And like I said, it's easy. And if you work or you don't have a lot of time, you can always prepare your meat the previous day. Your broth, cook your chicken like I have. I've been really busy, but what I did is yesterday I cooked up a few pieces of chicken. It could be drums or thighs, whichever you prefer. Chicken breast if you like chicken breast better. I just cooked it with water, of course, bay leaves, black peppercorns, a little piece of celery, a piece of onion, and a garlic clove. And then of course a little bit of salt at the end of the cooking period. I then cooled it down and I shredded the meat. And I'll tell you, that's what I do a little bit different than other people that make mole. And then I'll tell you the reason why I do it that way.
That's it for the toasting?
That's it for the toasting. You see, it's a little bit of caramelizing. And the pepitas have toasted a little bit. I don't want to burn them or char them too much. Just enough to wake them up. I'm going to go into the blender first with a mole. And then I'm going to follow up with the rest of the ingredients. You just have to like help it out by using a fork. I think that's the best way that I have found. And once all the mole is out of the jar, then I will do the broth and the rest of the ingredients. Now the bread, sesame seeds, it's a boil on my fingers, can't have that. Butter and chocolate. Now I did miss one little tiny step, which I'm going to rectify right now, so that your blender doesn't work too hard. What you want to do is you want to soften your chocolate a little bit. And what I do is I put it in the microwave for about 30 seconds with some liquid. And your liquid could be water. My ingredients are not going in. The seeds, my banana, my broth. This is a broth that I reserved from cooking the chicken yesterday. And now my chocolate is ready. Now blend it well. And now you have a skillet with just a couple of drops. You could use olive oil, corn oil, whichever you prefer, because it's only going to be a little bit, just a tiny bit like that. Here goes the noise. On medium to high heat, I will now pour the mole into the skillet with a little bit of the oil, and I will be stirring it. And then we will let all the flavors cook out, and then we will continue. After it's got to the point, then I add my meat and let the meat also simmer a little while in there to pick up all the flavors. And I will tell you about the meat, that I had previously cooked it and shredded it. And the reason that I do that is because, especially if you're with company and you have a chicken leg and you're trying to fight to cut into it and it's messy, so I prefer just to take the meat apart. That way you're managing your bites a lot better. The flavor's already there in the bone, so it doesn't take away from it, but it just makes it eater friendly. At least that's the way we've been doing it for a while, and it seems that it works out that way.
You can just keep on eating. You don't got to deal with no bones.
So now we have the mole going in. I'm going to put a little bit more broth to make sure that I get every amount of mole out from the blender.
Now, are you serving your mole with anything?
I'm going to serve it with rice, and then as decoration I'm just going to put the onion and the sesame seeds on top, and then you can have it with freshly made tortillas if you want tortillas, or you don't have to. And sometimes you can even eat it with a tostada if you like tostadas with the mole. Put a little bit of mole in a tostada and just cook up some rice and just enjoy it that way. So I'm going to be making the rice next, so that you can also see my way of making the rice. Right now it's like an orangey color, but as the chocolate and everything cooks through, it'll get darker. But that's okay, that's the color of mole. And in the jars, I just like the flavor of the mole that way without adding any chiles or anything. But if you like it spicy, go ahead. You're welcome to add some chile de árbol to it in the blender or whatever other chile you prefer. Come back and stir your mole frequently if you don't want to stand there the whole time, but just to make sure that everything cooks evenly and that it doesn't stick to the bottom of your skillet. Preferably use a skillet that's non-stick, that way you don't end up having mole on the bottom creating a crust. I'm going to make the sofrito or the recaudo or however you call it in your country. We were brought up thinking that it was called recaudo, but I know it has different names. I'm going to use a small piece of onion in the blender. And I always try to help my blender along by cutting the pieces. I'm going to use a small amount of bell pepper.
The blender, we put it over to the side for a little so we can see everything. There
Oh, okay. Okay, so we've got the onion cut in pieces, just a small piece, because I'm going to flavor the rice as well. A little bit of bell pepper. You have green, orange, red, whatever you have at home. It just gives it a little bit of a better flavor, I think. And I'm going to put in 1 clove of garlic. No skin. And a little root. They say that it makes it bitter. I haven't tried it yet. Okay, and then I'm going to use tomatoes. You see how they're small and tiny? That's because they're from my garden. They're organic. I didn't put any fertilizer or anything. They're just growing that way. They're little romas. But they've got good flavor. And I know what's in them because I didn't put anything on there. But I'm also going to add more color and flavor by using a tomato flavored consommate. Consomme that's got the tomato in it. Because sometimes if your tomatoes are not very red, your rice will be pale. Which I don't mind, but it looks better if it's red.
Or you could call it tomato bouillon.
Tomato bouillon also, yes. Just, and then what I did is 1 tablespoon per cup of rice, and I added a pinch of cumin. And that's what I have in this little container, which is going to go into my blender. I'm also going to use just a small amount of celery. I put enough water right now to make it, to blend it.
So you could either use chicken broth or
Like,
some water.
you could use chicken broth or water, whichever you prefer. I find that with the water, it just makes it like a little bit lighter, not as heavy of a rice, but it's up to you. Like I said, many times I use half and half. I'm back at my skillet, and I'm going to add some more broth. And the reason for that is my mole got a little bit on the thick side, which is fine. I'm going to use just a little bit of the mole, of the broth. You keep stirring it. See how it's gotten a little bit on the browner side, not as orangey. And it has to continue to cook. I'm going to say cook it at least 20 minutes just to make sure that that everything has cooked through. You don't want the bitterness of the chiles or any of those flavors. You want to make sure that it's cooked through. I'm going to use a little bit more broth. So I'm going to help myself with the store-bought organic chicken broth that I have. Again, this is not a commercial. Like, I get this at Sam's. I like that product. And you want it a little bit on the thin side because what it's going to do as it cooks, it continues to get thick. And you just have to leave it at whatever consistency you and your family like. I'm going to put a little bit of the chicken broth in there for more flavor. I learned that if you want fluffy rice, you got to watch your temperature. So in this case, since I did 1 cup of rice, I'm going to do 2 cups of liquid. And I'm going to have that going a little bit while I brown my rice. And now I'm ready for the meat. So I'm going to be adding the meat to the mole. I'm using my very clean hands, by the way. Bake your chicken gently, give it a nice little bath of mole. Let it sit in there in the little jacuzzi, the mole jacuzzi. As you can see, the mole is ready. The chicken has been sitting in there. It's been simmering away. You could taste it for salt, but I find that because of the ingredients in it, it's good as it is. I'm gonna take it away from the fire. It's gonna continue to thicken, but don't worry, you could always add a little bit of broth if you want it thinner. Now I'm gonna proceed and make my rice that's gonna go along with the mole. Now I've already got my water heating up. Like I said, the same ratio, 2 to 1, 2 of liquid, 1 of the rice. And I'm gonna go ahead and put a little bit of butter and oil in my skillet to brown my rice and raise the fire on here because it's not gonna take that long to brown the rice. So a little bit of butter. Okay, work with me, butter. I had it in the refrigerator, that's why. Okay, a little bit of butter for flavor. And some oil. Now here you can use whatever oil you prefer, grapeseed oil, corn oil, avocado oil, whatever you prefer. I'm gonna use a little bit, it's just enough to brown my rice. Or you could have a mixture of 2 oils if you want. I'm gonna wait until that's a little bit on the warm side. Now my rice has already been cleaned, cooked, dried, everything. So my rice is ready. I have a cup here. A little more flavor.
So when you're saying your rice is already cooked,
my rice is not cooked. What I did is I rinsed it. I rinsed it and let all the starchy water come out of it. And that I just one step. You don't have to. A lot of people don't. Sometimes I don't, but this time I figured I go ahead and do it. And so.
Okay, so it's not pre-cooked?
No, it's just regular long grain rice that I'm using. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, since my butter's already melting, I'm gonna do the onion and the garlic. Like I said, when you make your rice, if you want to put peas and carrots or just peas or nothing at all, it's all good. It's all good. Now here goes the sofrito. I wish we had smell-o-vision because this is flavor right here with the cumin and the bell pepper, the garlic, everything. It's just good flavor. Okay, once your sofrito or recaudo, whatever has boiled into the rice, then at this point you're ready to add your boiling liquid, which is what I'm going to do right now. And then I'm going to cover it and then check it in a few minutes to see that all the liquid has been absorbed and that the rice is completely cooked. If you like, you can at this point add some sprigs of cilantro just to give it more flavor. I just don't happen to have any right now. It's been 15 minutes approximately. Now all the water has been absorbed, all the liquid's absorbed. Now what I'm doing is I'm just mixing it all up, taking away from the heat source so it doesn't stick or anything, and just fluffing it up. You could cover it up and it'll continue to fluff for you. I know it's lacking color because, like I said, I forgot my piece that I didn't have. But you can be sure that the flavor is there with the butter and the garlic and everything that went into the sofrito. So all that flavor will be there for you. And now we're going to go ahead and taste this mole, but we serve it with, here in our house, with toasted sesame seeds, as much or as little as you like, and some of that macerated onion that's been sitting in the lemon and the lime juice.
Pickled.
It's pickled now. So you put, again, as little or as much as you want. And it's ready for the test. If you like tortillas, this is the point where you get your nice warm tortillas, whichever flavor you like. And here it is. And again, thank you for watching, and I hope that you stay to the end of the video and give me a little thumbs up that you like it, and ring the little bell so that when we make another video, you can be notified, and subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything, and it'll help us. Thank you so much for watching. Now let's taste this. Let's go. See? A little bit of rice, a little bit of the mole.
Let's do this. I'm going to have some onion because I love my pickled onions. A little bit of mole. Get a little bit of chicken right here too. onion, chicken,
Mole.
rice.
Rice. It's very good. So I know that you like it. A lot of people have. All right. Be that way. Bye. Until next time. Stay true to the flavor.
Again, guys, thank you very much for tuning in to today's video. Again, if you haven't subscribed, smash the subscribe button. Like my mama said, it doesn't cost you anything. It's free. So what are you waiting for?